Right guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video what I'm going to be doing is the bike behind me there, which is a Cube hybrid bike. It's fitted with 8-speed Shimano group set with a triple on the front, 8-speed cassette on the back, front and rear shifters, etc, the front derailleur. What I'm going to be doing is converting it to 1x setup, so that's 1 by 11, so it's going to have 1140 on the back and just a single chainring on the front. So I'll go ahead, we'll run through the steps and I'll just show you bit by bit, so it'll end up being converted to 1x system on it instead, with a clutch rear derailleur instead of just a standard 8-speed like it is, like you see it behind me. So we'll go ahead and get into it. So right, the first thing we'll do on it, obviously get rid of your chain. This just happens to have a quick link in it, so basically it makes life a lot easier getting rid of your chain off the bike for maintenance, etc. You can just lose the old chain just like that. I'll keep that, so that chain's almost brand new, and a friend's bike of mine needs a new chain on it and his happens to be 8-speed, so I'll keep that, and the cassette can go on it as well onto his bike to make life so you can have because this cassette happens to have a 34 tooth on the back, so I just built the cassette up out of component bits, so it comes with a 34 on the back just to make it lower geared as it happens, so he can have that and then he'll have lower gearing on there on his bike, which would be handy for him because he doesn't do a lot of cycling, he's just sort of getting into it. So he's just got a cheap bike, he don't ride very often, but he don't mind going off road. So I'll just drop the old back wheel out of it. So we'll get rid of that to one side for now. So I'll take the cassette off it in a bit. And then basically we've got to get rid of, now this is a square taper bottom bracket, if you can see it or not, it's a square taper, so it's got an Allen key hex head in the middle there, but to get the actual, to pull them off, because they're square tapers, once it goes on it, it's not going to come back off very easily, so we've got the right tool for the job there that we use on it. But I'll grab the old Allen keys out. It's a while since I've had these off, but we'll have a look. So you just remove the bolt in the middle, like so. Remove the old hex head, like that, out of the middle. Then you're just left with the crank arm on there. So you get your tool like so. And then we just wind it back out, because obviously the centre is going to come through and push the arm off. So I need to start it in there. Now obviously you don't want to cross thread it because these are aluminium crank arms and this is a steel tool, so you've got to be careful. They can take a bit of getting started properly, these, I know from experience. There you go. You've got to make sure it's definitely started properly without cross threading it. If you cross thread it, then you're in all sorts of trouble. So I've still got the pedal on at the minute, so that tool just passes the pedal luckily. So all I do is screw that back into this stop, so stop there, like that. So you can obviously hold the crank arm and push down on the tool, like so, and it'll wind the crank arm off. Like so, you just keep going, like so, and then it'll wind that off, and there you go. I see it's a double, not a triple, so I'll cut that off, the outer chainring off. Done that years ago, it still works fine without it. And as you can see there, just wind the tool back out then unwind the middle so you can wind it out far enough. Then wind the tool like so, and there's your crank arm with your chain rings on. You need to go ahead and do the same the other side, and then we'll tackle the old square taper bottom bracket then. So right, as I said, it's a square taper bottom bracket in there at the moment, and I'm replacing it with a Hollowtech 2 Shimano bottom bracket with the external cups. So to get the old one out, you just got a tool like so with a square taper. So obviously you just make sure your splines are cleanish in there, just make sure the tool fits in there like so. So you put the tool on there like that, make sure it's located, and then get yourself a bar and a socket like that. This happens to be 32mm for this one, the socket. Put that on there, and then obviously it's clockwise is undoing it, so just give it it'd be quite tight, hence why you got quite a long bar on it. So, and clockwise for the drive side is undoing it. So once you got it moving, you can just go ahead and undo it like so. Just keep going, and out comes the out it comes like so. And you can see the state of that rust on there. And that's what it'll look like, something like that. And the rust is just because the water gets trapped in the bottom bracket area, and it just obviously rusts it like that because these are metal. The bottom brackets is square taper bottom bracket, so it's actually metal, and the cup on the other side is still in there, so you just do the same on the other side, except the other side, to undo it, it's the opposite. So this was clockwise to undo it, and the other side would just be anti-clockwise, the standard, to undo it on the non-drive side. And then what you need to do then is go ahead and clean up all the threads and the inside of the frame. As you can see in there, it's just full of rusty old and dirty water. Right, so we've got the bottom bracket area cleaned up now, as you can see. So what we're going to do is put in the Hollowtech 2 bottom bracket. This happens to be a 105 road bottom bracket. As you can see, it's written there on it there, road, just there. So it's not a mountain bike one, it's a road one, but it still uses 24mm axle through the middle. So we'll be using it. Now, to know how many spacers to put on that, you just first of all got to get yourself a tape measure handy, and you can measure the width of the bottom of the frame there, just like that. Just measure across there like so and see what it says. Obviously this says 68mm, so you've obviously got 68, it could be 73 or bigger than that. I think they got up to 80 something. There's three sizes basically. So if you measure that at 68, so if it's 68, then I need 2 spacers on the drive side and 1 spacer on the non-drive side for a 68mm. If it was 73, you just use 1 spacer on the drive side. So I'll go ahead and install that. And this is a road bottom bracket, as I've already shown, 105 5800 this happens to be. So even got road written on it in there as well, just there. Obviously it's got left and right, and the cups are obviously handed left and right, so we know the drive side is the right hand side there, and the non-drive side is the left hand side. So just make sure you got them in the right way. And we go ahead and get that threaded in, and remember to put your spacers on before you go and put the cups in. Right, so we go ahead and start with the drive side. So just make sure you got a bit of grease on the thread and in the bottom bracket area there where it's going to go into. Just make sure you got grease on there. So obviously it's going to start, just helps it from getting stuck in the frame or anything. Just put a smear on the thread as well of the cup. Then you got your 2 spacers to go on. So you just put your 2 spacers on there, like so. And go ahead and start that. Obviously it's anti-clockwise. You can go by the arrow on the cup, but it's anti-clockwise, the drive side. So that's that side done. And just go ahead, grease up the other side, put some grease on there as well, and get to put your spacer on. So this is a 68mm frame across the bottom, at the bottom bracket area there. So yours could be 73 or whatever. So just check out what spacers you need and go ahead and get that in there. Put that on the other side. Put some grease around there. Make sure it's going to go in as it should. And slide it in. So they should go in by hand, and then you can finish them off with the tool afterwards for it. Right, so the tool you're going to use, some of them come in the box with the bottom bracket, and some of them you obviously buy and it doesn't come with it, so you have to purchase it separately. But to do the tool you need for this particular one is this. It's a TL-FC25 tool, Shimano. There. And obviously you can't just hold on that and do it up, it just goes over like that. But to do it up you only get so far with that. And what that tool does is it fits in a spanner like so. Just slots into that spanner. Obviously without that tool, without the tool in the spanner, the tool just slots into the spanner. But without the tool in it, just looks like so. And obviously it's completely the wrong size without the tool in there. So obviously you just get the tool and you just put it in the spanner like so, just line it up and then you just pop in to there, and then you've got the correct size and the leverage there to do it up. So once you've got that in the tool you can go in and do it up. Once it's in the tool like so, and this happens to be a Shimano spanner as well, and this is a TLFC32, this tool, but you can just buy the ones like a socket version, what goes over there, and you just put a spanner or a ratchet on it. So you can buy one of those as well if you want to get one of those. Just happen to have this one for this size cup anyway. And that just slots over there like so, and then you can just do it up like so. Obviously you can go ahead and check the manufacturer's torque settings on them as well if you're not sure how tight they're supposed to be or anything. Just go ahead and check the torque setting on them. So that's the bottom bracket installed. Right, so because this is going to be a 1x setup, obviously you don't want the front derailleur on there, and if you had a shifter on the other side and your cable, associated cable, you can get rid of that. So you just go ahead and simply undo the pinch bolt on this side and remove it. remove the derailleur from the frame like that. Then you can go ahead and remove your rear derailleur, so it's 5mm Allen key the same, most of them are. So you can just go ahead and get that off. Also undo your pinch bolt at the same time, just to get rid of the cable. So obviously that's not going to be, we're not going to be needing that, so we're going to put all new cables on at the same time. So just go ahead, unscrew that, take the derailleur off. There's a derailleur. You can just go ahead now and just snip your cable and get the cable out of there. So you go ahead, just snip your cable off. There's the old derailleur, the 8-speed Shimano there. Go ahead and just get rid of your cables, because we'll be renewing those anyway. Right, so as it goes, we're going to be removing the shifter obviously, so we don't need this. It's the 8-speed, you can see it's just an 8-speed shifter there, Shimano. But the if you want to know where the cable is in them, obviously change your cable or anything, just get a flat screwdriver, and there's a screw there, or a star screwdriver, whatever you got to hand. If you undo that plastic, that's just a cover that is there. Obviously don't lose it. But then the cable is up in that hole there, so make sure you shift it down to so you shift, because otherwise you won't be able to see the cable up in that hole if the shifter's in the wrong position. So obviously if you're shifting that way, you won't be able to see it. So you've got to shift back again. So you shift down as low as you can go, so you're in the bottom, smallest at the back. Then you can see the cable. If you just find an open piece of cable somewhere, you push on it and out pops the cable like that. Then you can go ahead and pull it through. So you go ahead, just keep pulling it and it'll come all the way through, like so. And that's the cable out. So to remove the shifter, obviously we've just pulled off the grip and then removed the brake off the end of the bar as well, just to get the shifter off on this particular design, where it's a clamp on one, like so. Right, so here we have the 8-speed cassette, as you can see. So I'm replacing it, or it's going to be replaced, with this. That's an 1140 11-speed cassette instead of the 8-speed there. So you can see the difference in size, just a comparison. So I'll go ahead and get this cassette off of here. Obviously the tool you need is like so, just for the lock ring in there, which fits in there like that. And then you just get a socket that fits over that, or a big pair of grips, open-ended adjustables on there, but it's better to use a socket, it's better fit. And then just get a bar like so and put on the end like so to undo it. Obviously you need to hold the cassette at the same time, so just put on a chain whip like so. Just put that on there, then go ahead and get your bar and put on the socket, and then undo it like so. Once it's just cracked undone, you can just undo it by hand, so you don't need the chain whip then, like so. Just undo it, undo the lock ring like that. Then you just slide the cassette off like so. Now before you go and put the new cassette on, obviously check the free hub, make sure the body hasn't got too much play in it, as in movement, because when obviously the cassette's on there, because it's larger, there'll be even more play in it. So make sure that it doesn't need replacing or anything silly like that before you go and put the cassette on. Make sure that it's okay. And obviously before you put the cassette on, just put some grease, just give it a light coat, just a very light bit of grease over there, just to stop the cassette seizing onto the freer body itself. And obviously you've got the spacer on there as well, plastic spacer, like so, on this wheel, because obviously it was an 8-speed cassette, and now we're putting on an 11-speed cassette, so the spacer should be redundant now. So right guys, we're ready to install the 1140 cassette now. I'll just put a smear of grease on the freer body on the outside there, just lightly grease it. So you've got the cassette there, still on its plastic holder. So we go ahead and line this up and get that on there. Like so. Obviously we just put a bit of grease on the thread there as well, just to make sure when you come to undo it again that it is going to come undone and not cause you a problem that you don't need. Just put a little bit of grease on it. Obviously this ring on this one is plastic, it's not metal, it's just a plastic lock ring. Some of them metal, some of them plastic, depends on the which model it is of Shimano. Some use plastic, some use metal ones. And because this is a road wheel, this is a Shimano wheel. It's actually a road, this is 700C wheel, this is. What we're going to have to do is, you can see the play in it there. So obviously a mountain bike cassette and a road cassette are very slightly different in whips, if you see what I mean. So what we're going to have to do is, the spacer, I'll have to put the spacer back on that. So what I'll have to do is, I'll just go ahead and remove that, and then I have to have the spacer on now. If you was doing it on a mountain bike wheel, obviously this conversion, then you wouldn't need the spacer on it, because it's designed for a mountain bike. But because I'm doing it, this is actually a 700C wheel, believe it or not. And as I said earlier, it's not a full-blown mountain bike setup. This is just a more of like a gravel bike setup sort of thing. It's not for heavy off-road use at all. So it's more for sort of tracks and things, you know. So what I'll have to do is, the spacer will have to go back on, obviously, otherwise it's not going to work. The cassette's just going to be flopping around all over the place. Now I know it also depends on what wheel manufacturer you've got. Some of these wheels, 700C wheels, you can fit that cassette on them and you won't need this spacer behind it, and other wheels you will. This is the first wheel I've come across in person that actually needs a spacer behind it on that cassette, on a road wheel. If I was fitting that on any other wheel I've got, that 1140 cassette will go straight on without the spacer. But I know some people say that you need the spacer which is right because this is a Shimano wheel and it just happens to need the spacer on it. But I say I fitted it to other manufacturers' wheels and it doesn't need the spacer, so I say you might need this, you might not, if you're doing it on a 700C wheel, that is. Right, so we got the spacer on now, and I say I'll put the cassette back on and then we'll try it. Now we've got the spacer on. As you see before, it had plenty of play in it, so there's no way it was going to work. But what we'll do is we just put this back on and we'll try it now and see where we're at. Just put the lock ring there and see if it'll tighten up this time. And there you go, I'll just pinch it up by hand, but even then it's obvious that it's got rid of all that slack that it had in it. Now we've got the spacer on there, so I say that's on there, fitted. All I'll do now is just tighten that up, nip that up, and then it's good to go. So there you go, that's the 1140 on there. Right guys, that's the end of part one of the build, so stay tuned for the next video, which when I'll be installing the lever and the crankset and putting the chain on and everything like that and getting it up and running. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell as well so you get notifications when I upload the next part. Until then, ride safe and I'll see you on the next one.